Cliff, it's 20 seconds past 7. You want to go?
I'm ready to go.
You're on.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to City Life Show. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. I'm joined by Eileen Delrossi and by Mike Smith. And we have our producer, John McDonough. And we're doing it all by Zoom because it's snowing out there. And when we set it up, we didn't know how bad it was going to be. In the predecessor program, we had Fru Nkimbeng, but he's off to work in New Hampshire, and I hope he has a safe trip. But, we were discussing some unfortunate characterizations that came out that appeared racist. Free speech, you can be as stupid as you want, but I think it's actually, and next Monday I may bring this back up with Fru. We have the use of race going in both directions. It's not good. I heard someone describe President Trump is the most racist president ever. I guess they never heard of Woodrow Wilson. I blame the school teachers for that. He's the one that segregated Washington, D.C. and the government and the armed forces.
What are you blaming teachers for again, Cliff?
Not teaching history. That people would not realize what a racist president Woodrow Wilson was. He was about 100 years ago.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was a different time in the United States, and that seemed to be more acceptable behavior back then. You know, we keep trying to move forward, Cliff. But hopefully we're moving 2 steps forward and only 1 step back instead of 1 step forward and 2 steps back. But I think in society, people are seeing more and more acceptance of all kinds of people. But it doesn't change in 1 year or a couple of years. It takes time. I mean, if people take a serious look at where our country was even 20 years ago concerning different minorities, women, and other things like that, things have changed. Has everything gotten perfect? It'll never get perfect. We're all human, and people have their own ways of doing things. But I think that things have changed quite a bit, even in the last 20 years.
Yeah. So, going to local news, I saw where former Mayor Sakari Chow has said he's going to run for state rep against Representative Tara Hung in the 18th Middlesex District.
Maybe Tara will come on the show now.
We can hope so.
Well, he's ducked behind the bushes a lot.
Yeah.
The only state rep comes on the show is Rodney, and the others just hide in the bushes. And the real big issue, Cliff, is we have to watch out for the Democratic machine that's going to put Vanna Howard in a state Senate seat. We have to go out and vote for the best candidate for that race. If you like Vanna Howard, then go out and vote for her. If you like Joe Espinola or Sam Meese, go out and vote for that person. We're going to have to get out there and vote. Otherwise, Massachusetts is going to keep doling out the same stuff we're seeing right now. More taxes, give us more money. And don't drive your car.
And ignore the people. Our Massachusetts Attorney General has come out on the side of the legislature against the state auditor. We voted 72% that she should audit the legislature, and the entrenched people down there are fighting that. And the only way to change that is we have to shake up the legislature. And that means we've got to get out and vote. And even if the number of Democrats elected stays the same, if a larger number of voters actually turn out, that will send a signal to the politicians that things aren't the same. And they may get a little more responsive. So I've been looking at the press, and I'm seeing there's a lot of whinging about billionaire Jeff Bezos laying off a third of the Washington Post staff, 300 folks. And I don't understand. If the paper is making money, is it the job of the owner to keep it afloat by spending down his or her fortune? John, do you have that chart of the Washington Post readership?
Give me a couple of minutes, Cliff, I can get it up there.
Okay. Well, we'll get back to the Washington Post. I did see where there's an article today about fraud in the Lowell Sun that we're cracking down on fraud and welfare, and a Mr. Sun took $282,000 of taxpayer money. I mean, those are amateur numbers compared with, say, Minnesota. But it's 9 cents per mass taxpayer that he defrauded us. But there is more fraud. The people doing the investigations of welfare fraud for July 24 to June 2025, they conducted 4,000 investigations, identified almost $12 million in public assistance fraud, which works out to $3.74 per taxpayer.
Interesting. I just wanted to say two things, because somebody mentioned earlier in the show that Diana DeZoglio did the On the Record on News Center 5 yesterday. I didn't see it, but I want to go back and look for it, because I'm sure it's going to be good. And it was all about how everyone voted for this audit, and she's being completely blocked about it. And then the other thing is, in regards to fraud and misuse, the school committee and the city council, they have a joint meeting this week to vote on consolidating the city and the school departments, which I feel very strong about. Like, we don't need to do that. The school money needs to stay with the school. City money stays with the city. But we're already getting a lot less money this year already off the bat of just talking about the budget. So
this seems like a pretty big deal that's not getting a lot of coverage.
Well, see, I did a lot of research on this when it first came out, and if the school and the city want to sit down and have a conversation about how to best service these schools for the joint facilities only, then sit down and do it. You should have been doing it all along. Those are your jobs. But the consolidation is the administrative functions, the human resources, the facilities, it's the whole shebang that they want us to vote on and essentially dissipate the school committee. And there's a reason that there's a school committee in Plan E government. And it seems like they're threatening with the home rule petition. But so in Methuen, I was reading that the new mayor last May took advantage of the fact that Methuen did vote for that rule to go through in 2018, but they never did anything about it. So Methuen did vote for consolidation, but I think they worked well enough that they didn't have to worry about it. So he took this rule and tried to apply it to the IT department, which locked out the school department. And ultimately, the superintendent, who I thought was great in Methuen, was fired from the school committee because of these issues. So I don't see anything good coming out of this. But in Lowell, we're fortunate because we've never voted yes on this. And no matter what the city council say, and I know the city council does have majority vote, but they're not, I don't think they're going to get it from the school side. And for some reason, they're threatening to file a home rule petition and go above and beyond what the law and the rule says. But it's scary because so many times, like, they do get away with that. So it should be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah. Do they think they're going to save money by doing this?
See, I have no clue. There's no plan, and the city council is the first one to say, we don't know how this is going to work. But if we already have everything in place, why wouldn't you just want to make it better? Why adopt this rule, this law, that allows more than just facilities? So nobody really knows, but yet they want to vote on it. And there's too many questions. And unfortunately, it's been a point of contention, but I think last school committee meeting when they were asked to vote on it, I was there I was not there. But I watched it the next day and I thought, Fred Bahu, Danielle McFadden, everybody had something logical to say about this. So, yeah, it should be very interesting Wednesday and to see what happens.
So, Cliff, I have the graphic you sent me yesterday.
Okay. Let's take a look at it.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's on the screen now.
It turns out I cannot see it.
Alrighty.
But I think it makes a point that the Washington Post, which is the bottom line, was trailing behind the New York Times. And then when Donald Trump became president, it helped revive the fortunes of the Washington Post. I have it up on my TV right now looking at it. The green line is the Washington Post. And then when Trump was running again in 2024, the Washington Post started to fall off. And I think that's on the reporters. And you can see that it's not going very well for the Washington Post. Is Jeff Bezos wrong to lay off people to try and save some money and rejuvenate the newspaper?
Well, what would rejuvenate the newspaper? The kids don't buy it.
Well, look at the New York Times. Somebody went out and is buying the paper.
Old-timers like me and you.
Yeah.
I would say that the money is online subscriptions. But the problem with that is that you can find news all over without having to pay to find it. So I'm not sure, how they're going to generate their income. It won't be some subscribers. They're going to have to get people who run ads on there. But I can if I can't find it in one place, I find it in another. So I don't pay for any news. I don't subscribe to a newspaper. I just look at stuff online.
Eileen? Hello, Eileen.
I'm sorry, what was the question again? Do you buy the paper or just subscribe online?
Yeah.
So I go through phases where I have a subscription and then it lapses, and then I always like to look at the newspaper. Like yesterday, I picked one up at the Market Basket because it was a cool article about the parachute girls. I thought my mother would enjoy it, but mostly I hear word of mouth and then I research it myself online. So if it's like a cool article, then or something on the front page, I'll pick it up from my mom. Or yeah, as long as I'm not on the front page, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, switching gears, tomorrow is the State of the Union at 9 p.m. President Trump will be talking to Congress. It's a constitutional requirement that he report every year to Congress on the State of the Union. It'll dominate ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, NPR, PBS. Our junior state senator, U.S. Senator Ed Markey, says he'll be boycotting President Trump's State of the Union address, saying, "Oh, he's just a liar."
I don't watch Ed Markey when he's on TV, so it's payback.
So he's going to join something called the People's State of the Union, and with some fellow Democrat congressmen, including a Senator, Chris Murphy from Connecticut, and 12 Democrat reps. So I think this is disrespectful. Not as bad as the Speaker ripping up our copy of the State of the Union speech, but still not good. This is pushing factionalism and not pushing we're all in this together.
Well, I think it's kind of, Cliff, it's kind of ironic because your senator is elected by the people of Massachusetts. So this is a report from the president to the people. And since the senator is elected by the people of Massachusetts, shouldn't that senator be there to get all the information so he can report back to the people who elected him? So it's just childish. It really is. It's like little children throwing temper tantrums. And if I saw whether it was him or any other politician acts like this, I tell it to them to their face. Are you an adult or are you a child? You're here to represent us, not to represent yourself or the party. You're here to represent us. And that's the biggest problem I see with politics nowadays. They've forgotten that they represent the people who put them in office. They don't represent a party. They're supposed to represent the people that elected them.
Yeah, that's a problem. So, I alluded to this much earlier.
Now, Cliff, when Trump gets on the microphone tomorrow night, and he goes on for 2 hours, are you going to listen to both hours?
Depends on whether or not there's a great movie on.
I'm not. I'm not going to listen to his jargon for 2 hours. He talks way too long.
Well, but he tends to be a little entertaining when he talks.
I ain't gonna watch 2 hours.
Okay.
Mike, you gonna watch 2 hours?
I don't know yet. I will watch at least the beginning, and the reason why I want to watch the beginning is I want to see what's going on with the reaction of all the politicians there. You know, who they've got there, who they're trying to, you know, send a message by. Because I know Trump will have people there that they've helped or to put their message forward. The Democrats will have people there to put their message forward. I don't know if they're going to be ridiculous and all dress in white again or whatever else they do, and you know, or throw tantrums, whatever you know they try to do. It's you know, I want to hear at least the beginning to see where it's going. I have a good idea what he's going to say. He's going to talk about things that got him elected, closing the border, getting the economy going better, bringing business into the United States. So I'm sure he's going to be talking about that too. The other thing is I'm wondering if he's going to start at the beginning or near the end on things that he sees he's going to try to implement over the next year. But, you know, the State of the Union, I can pretty much tell you, he's going to say the economy's good, we've closed the border, you know, we're working on drug issues. I mean, I don't need to listen to know what he's going to say. It's just on what he's going to say, you know, how he's going to present it.
So Eileen just came back in. Eileen, President Trump's going to be on TV tomorrow night. Are you going to watch both hours?
Absolutely not. No.
Neither am I.
I don't have the attention span.
Back over to you, Cliff.
Okay. So, teaching history. I saw a short little article about the original publication run of a Michael J. Cox history book for young readers about the sneak attack on Pearl Harbor that brought the U.S. into World War II. And the publisher put the book out there with a paper cover that showed Luftwaffe fighters over Pearl Harbor. I mean, so the artist misunderstood that the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, not the Germans. Nobody doing the production run seemed to pick up on the fact that there was this major historical error. Are we not teaching our people history that something like this wouldn't jump out at them and say, oh, this is exactly wrong? They did get a new cover out for the revised edition. So, I mean, what's the story, Eileen?
I'm going to take advantage of this and read these two announcements from people. So let's just, the Washington Compost is another arm of the Democratic Party who report fake news. Like the Lowell Sun, they keep rising the prices on the paper, which is another reason no one reads it. And the last comment is from President Trump is clearly not a racist. It's a label the left has given him to destroy his presidency. Another big lie. Back over to you, Cliff.
Eileen.
Yes. Well, I was not aware of this issue about Michael Cox. Is that what it is?
Clark, yeah, Michael Clark.
Michael Clark. So I will have to look into it further. But it sounds like he was defamed by this book. Does that sound about right? Defamed by the lessening of the impact of the book.
Yeah. I mean, and what? if this is for young people, what are they going to take from it when they pick up the book and they see the picture of the German fighters over Pearl Harbor? They're going to be confused at best.
Right. Yeah, and it's the narrative that, again, that the media and paperback books want us to experience and go along with, because, right, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and now a picture is worth 1,000 of what, 1,000 words of whatever somebody wants to make the narrative of.
I would say that in conjunction with the history, the people who did this book, they're just lazy. They didn't do their due diligence. Nobody checked and made sure that that picture was going to be accurate, that that was an accurate depiction of Pearl Harbor. So I blame that on them being lazy. And, you know, I find that in the media nowadays, there's a lot of reporters that are lazy. They don't do their research before they're putting articles out or making comments or doing the reporting. They rely on AI or what they think it should be. They need to be more diligent in getting their facts right, and maybe we'd have a better media reporting then.
Yeah, AI is, a lot of people think it's scary, but one of the reasons I'm not impressed is I signed up for the Clancy AI just to have something different from ChatGPT, and asked it some questions, and I got back, my history cutoff is May of 2025. That's almost a year ago. That can't be very useful. I mean, how can you have AI that is ignoring the last 10 months? I'm just not happy about that. So, we still don't know where Nancy Guthrie is.
Turn the page, Cliff. She's going to heaven. She's in heaven.
Yeah.
Let her rest in
I
peace.
would like to know what the motive was and why she was taken from the home. That I would like to know, because if it was just a home invasion, you don't usually, if something happens to somebody, they don't usually take the body with them. So somebody had a motive that they don't want any evidence left behind or whatever happened, because they're afraid they would get caught. But I'm kind of shocked with all the stuff that they've been doing. They don't have any leads at all.
We're pouring a lot of resources into this. I suspect those resources might be of value elsewhere, but I'm not sure the family's ready to join the producer in abandoning Nancy Guthrie.
I wouldn't call it abandoning, Cliff. Just a second now. Why don't you chastise the Coast Guard for they stopped looking for those people who were on that boat?
I mean, I really think the only reason that it's still in the news so much and the extra resources have been put into this is because the mother that was taken, you know, her daughter is a national news person. So if it had happened to you or me, if that was my parent that was taken like that, you would not see all these resources being put into it. So it's the only reason that this is still so many resources and everything's still in the news is because the mother who was taken is her daughter is a national news person. They would not have put the resources into this if it was my mother or father taken.
I agree.
When a ship goes down, I don't think there's much the Coast Guard can do after a couple of days. So I'm not expecting them to be out patrolling the sea in an unusual way looking for that fishing boat.
But you're expecting the cops in Arizona to continue looking in all the bushes.
Actually, personally, no, I'm not.
Okay.
But there seems to be some people that are. Eileen, you have a thought on this? Hello, Eileen. Yeah. So Governor Maura Healey has been on the immigration police.
Sorry, Cliff. I was trying to get it to unmute, and I was not that coordinated to do that. But I don't know. This Nancy Guthrie thing is intriguing. But yeah, I think we still need to look for Nancy Guthrie.
Okay.
Eileen, you're nuts. No way. Let
Thank
her
you.
go.
Thank you. Huh?
You think she's alive?
No, I think we just need closure no matter what. I think we need to figure out what happened.
Well, what about the sailors off of the Massachusetts coast? What about those guys? Why don't we go in that boat and retrieve the bodies?
We should do that too. We owe it to them.
We ain't gonna read this. Over the Green Monster, Mike. She is a public figure who has press on her side, meaning Guthrie.
No, I've already stated that already. This, like I said, if this had been my parents, something had happened, the police would be looking and they would open a case and they would do the best they could, but they wouldn't have the resources into this that for Nancy Guthrie, they would not have put the same resources in. But I'm not saying they wouldn't try to find what happened to my parents if this had happened, but it wouldn't be what it is with this case. It's not any different than the Lindbergh case back in the early 1900s. National figure, of course, everybody wants to know, so.
Yep.
Let me ask you this question. For all you people who really want to find Nancy Guthrie, what's her maiden name? I thought so. Thank you.
And what is her maiden name, John?
I have no idea.
Yeah, but why is that relevant?
You're so interested in spending government money looking for a poor girl that's already passed away that they're never going to find. And the culprit who did it, he's probably in Canada, hiding in the bushes in Canada.
Well, this news story is already starting to wind down. So in another week or so, you probably won't see anything in the news on this. The only time you'll ever see anything in the news again will be if they happen to find the body or they happen to find the person who did it and they can find where the body is. I mean, at her age, at 84 and needing medication and that, and there was blood at the house, the chances of her being still alive, like you said, John, is almost zero. So the family just wants closure so that they can say goodbye to her. I understand that. I do. I understand what they're looking for. Because I bet you if you pulled any one of them aside, including her daughter, and asked them if they thought she was still alive, they would probably say no, but we want to have closure.
So are the wives of all those sailors.
I understand
Nancy
that.
Ellen Long.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, John, but with the sailors, to find them in an ocean like that is it's almost impossible. Almost, so.
Yeah.
So, good old Eileen, she got Nancy Guthrie's maiden name for us. And she's Nancy Ellen Long.
Such a pretty lady, too.
Yeah, she's good looking soul. I just think she's gone to heaven. Let her rest in peace. Let the family get on with their mourning in any way they can. But I'm sorry, she's gone.
As long as the media pushes the story, then the family has to deal with that.
Right.
Once the media decides, well, we got something better to do with our time, then the family can have its own personal grieving and deal with it. But as long as the media keeps pushing the story, they have to deal with it.
So it's funny, Mike, none of it's funny, actually, but when you were saying this news story is already starting to kind of dwindle down. Yesterday, I was in the middle of doing something in the kitchen, and my mother always has the TV on. And I said to myself, I haven't heard anything about Nancy Guthrie yet today, and I ended up looking it up, and it just said that she's still missing, and they're going to do reverse DNA to see if they can figure out through the genealogy who it is, but the guy was not found in the FBI database with his DNA. So it's just, to me, it's just the more that it's found out, the stranger it is, the entire case.
Agreed.
Yep. So, our governor, Maura Healey, is very down on ICE and the immigration enforcement. In fact, she was demanding that the governor of New Hampshire block the creation of an ICE facility up there for holding people detained for deportation. But somebody up in New Hampshire sent out a comment that I saw, and they said, remember how the illegals got shipped to Martha's Vineyard, and they called the National Guard, and they were all removed in 24 hours, and with absolutely no due process. So I think that that's a good point. If illegal immigrants are an annoyance to some politically important group, they'll be dealt with, but otherwise, not so much.
Comment from the audience, just like how the media around here was non-stop reporting Karen Reed. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so many twists and turns in the case of Karen Reed. That's why it was consistently, and that's what I kind of feel about Nancy Guthrie. But I agree with what Mike said. Like, you're not hearing much more about her at this point because it's not as newsworthy as it was last week, or 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago.
It's amazing to me on how many people forget the news media are businesses. They're in there to make money for their shareholders or owners. And so they're going to promote or report things that help them attract more people to their news media. And, I wish more people would understand that they're there as a business to make money for their shareholders and owners. And you have to listen to this stuff, and then you need to go around and maybe check other things to see if it makes sense or not. But, people got busy lives. They don't have time. Cliff and John and I, we've got more time to do that and look at things. And sometimes it's pretty scary on how slanted one side or the other is in the media reporting.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now, I want to switch over to the issue of Iran. There were people at the end of last week wondering if President Trump was going to initiate attacks against Iran. It didn't happen. They're still negotiating. I think negotiation will go on for another week or so. But Iran doesn't like us. We are the big Satan. Israel is the little Satan. But you can imagine, if we're the big Satan, that they are not anxious to do anything.
Weren't we supposed to attack them over the weekend?
Well, that some people thought we were going to, but we didn't. We're negotiating with them to try and come to a mutual agreement.
The unfortunate thing, Cliff, with Iran is they will say they're going to agree to stuff similar to China and Russia, and then they just don't do it because there's no results that would affect them in a negative way enough that makes them be accountable. So until they understand that when they make certain choices, there's an unpleasant result to that that's really going to hurt them, they won't adhere to things. And that's part of the issue with Iran. But their economy is in trouble in Iran. And that's why the people are having so much revolting, because their money is literally worth nothing over there. And if the U.S. can cut off their oil revenue, then what do they have there? They really don't have anything else.
Well, they have their memories. They haven't forgotten how we teamed up with the Brits back in August of 1953 to overthrow the Prime Minister Mohammed Mossadegh, in a counter coup. Was known as Operation Ajax in the U.S. and Operation Boot in the U.K. And then of course we had the whole hostage thing at the end of Jimmy Carter's term. We had people held hostage for over a year, but they got fed, and they finally got released.
But they've been calling us the Great Satan for almost 50 years, you know. So, I mean, that's their rhetoric, and you know, their brutal control. You know, it's. I don't see anything really changing in Iran unless they can change the people who run the country. But the big issue, and I think Trump is smart enough to realize it, is going into Iran, can we go in and take out their leadership? I would say probably yes, we could. But who's going to replace them, and how's that going to play out? So I think that the U.S. is trying to figure out how to get things changed in Iran without leaving a big vacuum, you know, for leadership. But I don't, you know, as far as the Ayatollah and all them, they may say, "Hey, we're negotiating. We're gonna agree to this." They're not going to follow it. So, until they can cut off the oil supply and cut off all the revenue for the government, there's nothing going to change in Iran. It's, you know, they'll go around killing anybody who's a protester, just like they've been doing, until they can get them economically squeezed. That's the only way they're going to change things.
So what we're looking at right here, this is a rooftop camera looking down. This is Highland Street here. This is Gorham Street. And I'll drag the flag down so you can see it a little bit. And the flag's whipping. And it's a great day to go back to bed. That's all, and I'll leave it there. Back over to you, Cliff.
Hey, so is it good for the world for Iran to get nuclear weapons?
Nope, they're crazy.
Absolutely not, because they are fanatics, and they don't care if they got a nuclear weapon and they set it off in the United States. They don't care if the U.S. came back and just leveled the whole country. They're fanatical that their way of life is the only way of life it should be. And look at how women are treated, anybody who speaks up against them. It's their way is the only way. And there's no tolerance, there's no negotiation. It's just brutal on how they run things. And I'm not making that up. I know people that lived over there. This one soccer referee explained to me how it is over there, talking about how relatives of him were shot in front of him, just executed because they didn't agree with the government. So it's just brutal over there. And the problem is if you remove that leadership, what replaces them without the government the country going to total chaos? And I think that's what the Trump administration is still trying to figure out, how we can get rid of them, but not have the country go into chaos.
Yep, I think that's an issue. Some people are saying that the media is not doing a good job. The Western liberal media, that they're ignoring the Iranian uprising, and the assertion is that because explaining it would force an admission, it is desperate to avoid the Iranian people rebelling against Islam itself. And that fact shatters the more important thought which these institutions understand the world. So I'm not sure that they're rising up against Islam. They're rising up against this dictatorship, religious dictatorship, in which everyone is expected to conform, as Mike has pointed out. But I don't think the press is helping us do a good job of understanding this. Someone said that in Western progressive discourse, Islam has been racialized. It is treated not as a belief system or a political ideology, but as a stand-in for race and ethnicity. Criticizing Islam is framed as an attack on brown people, Arabs of the Middle East, as if it was a skin color rather than a doctrine. I don't know, does that ring true to you?
Comment from the audience. Hopefully the city will be on top of this storm. The last one was a headache for the city councilors, and rightfully so. Back to you, Cliff.
All right. So, should we intervene in Iran?
Personally, I think we have enough problems here we should be intervening with and not looking internationally. But that's just what I think.
I think we should blast their cell phones with how wonderful America is, with videos of how great this country is.
Okay.
I think people know in Iran things are not good, but the problem is that if you speak up, you disappear. So people like to stay alive, and so the people who did those protests were very brave. Unfortunately, a lot of them lost their lives. I don't think the press was reporting how many people actually were killed. And they've tried this more than once, and the regime is so brutal, they just don't care. You know, we're in charge. This is how we expect you to act. And if you don't act that way, we'll just kill you. So the problem is we don't have enough countries to isolate Iran in a meaningful way, because you got countries like Russia with Iran or China. if we could isolate Iran and cut off all their finances, I mean, meaning of, their oil and all that, things would change because, people would be starving. People would have nothing to do, they'd have no way to stay alive. So there's, and the regime would have no money to keep control.
The regime would continue to be the fat cats. Reading this, once you teach the kids to stop hating, it will never get better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they do brainwash kids. But there's enough people who understand, who don't agree, who have not been brainwashed or do understand that. And right now, because their money is worth almost nothing, people are like, what do we do? How do we eat? How do we have our housing? Those kind of things. And it starts affecting enough people. The government's going to have a hard time controlling that.
So, for a little change of pace, I saw a suggestion that blondes are now telling Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez jokes. This all started after her global stage debut in Munich with her word salad on a basic question, what do we do if China invades Taiwan?
Well, how about the North Koreans are still starving to death over there? Nobody's saying anything about them this week. They're out of the picture.
Yeah. Well, I see Iran going that way too. If things don't change somewhat. I mean, the people who run the government are getting the revenues from the oil that way. But on AOC, she's just so full of herself. In her own mind, she's already checking out the White House because she figures that whatever she says, everybody's going to, just take it in 100% and agree. And what she did going there, she got a rude awakening, and she's lazy. She doesn't get her facts straight. She doesn't do the work to know what's going on. I mean, for her not to think that she was going to be asked some of those questions just shows you that she's not a serious person for where she wants to go. And she's not going to be running for president. Or she can try, but she's not going to win the primary. She just doesn't have the influence that she thinks she does.
Well, who do you think has got the lead right now in the Democratic Party for president in 2028?
So you want me to know who has the lead or who I think would be their best candidate?
Both. Those are different.
Yes, that's why I'm saying that. So I think their best candidate right now would be Ben Shapiro from Pennsylvania because he has some somewhat common sense. The one who gets all the media and they're always talking to is Gavin Newsom. But California is a disaster. And, anybody who's there, if all you got to do is look at the record of California, and that's where the United States would be. So, I mean, he has the biggest state in the country. Actually, his state economy is probably bigger than most economies in the whole world, and they've run it into the ground. It's just a disaster. People are moving out of there. Anybody with money, anybody else who can move is leaving because they know it's bad. Shapiro in Pennsylvania has got, they're pretty stable economy. They have some common sense stuff. So, I mean, I think that he would probably be a better candidate. They're still talking about Kamala, and I'm like, why are you wasting your time? Because there's no way she's going to run again and get elected. She was terrible before, and she's worse now. What is it, the one from Michigan, the governor there?
Whitmer?
Whitmer, yes. She talks a lot, but, I don't think she can get elected. Like I said, the two people I see right now is Newsom and Shapiro. That's assuming that Shapiro wants to run for president. He may not. he may want to stay as governor of Pennsylvania. Gavin Newsom, we know he's going to run. Former Transportation Secretary Buttigieg, he thinks he can get elected president. I don't think so. He's not real good on things. He did a terrible job as Transportation Secretary before. And if he couldn't handle that, there's no way he can handle something bigger. So I'm waiting to see who else might come into the picture. But right now, I'm looking at the two names that I look at as Shapiro and Newsom. AOC, she thinks she can run, but look at history. Somebody from the House of Representatives, they don't get elected as president.
No. Eileen, you have any thoughts on this?
I do not, actually. I don't. I find it interesting that blondes are making fun of AOC now. That's kind of funny.
John, you want to weigh in on this?
Gavin Newsom, he's the guy who's going to get the big green light, and on our side, the vice president's going to get the big green light for the Republican side, and that's going to be the contest. Coming up on tomorrow's City Life, we're going to have Bobby Hoey, Cisco Maldonado, Joe Espinola, and Tom Bumble. That's tomorrow's City Life. Time is short, Cliff.
Yeah.
Do any of you have an over-under on how long we're going to be snowed in for?
Everything will be up and running tomorrow. It's going to stop snowing at around 11 o'clock tonight, and I don't think we'll have school tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah, I heard that they're going to have really, in New York, some huge winds, almost like 60, 70 miles an hour for your storm. So I'm going to have to call my sister this evening and talk to her, and I'll give a report on what it was like next Monday. I did want to mention, because I usually try to before the end, today is National Banana Bread Day. So for all of you who like banana bread, today's the day you should try to have some banana bread. So
I saw a cut line that said, what's going on with kids today with their wild, out of control abstinence and crazy teetotaling?
Eileen, mute your microphone.
Oh, sorry.
There is surveys that they're finding younger people are not drinking like people have been in the past. But I'll quickly say that's going to still be hard to change for everybody, because every show, every movie you see, there's alcohol in almost everything. And people are always drinking in almost every TV show and movies that I've watched enough to know that they subtly promote that as something to do when you get home from work or you want to relax. So they may be having less people drinking, but there's still going to be a ton of people still drinking.
And apparently, young people are having less sex, and of course the birth rate is down. One person said ours is down to 1.6, which makes us like Japan, Korea, China.
That's because of the drinking. Nobody can continue the act.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's a contradiction.
Yeah. Well, the problem is a lot of people they don't see each other. We're becoming more of a isolationist society. You just text people. You don't meet with them and talk with them and do other things.
What you're looking at right here is my parking lot. They just finished plowing it. They got to do it all over again. Hey, we're out of time, kids. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye. We'll see.
Have a good week. Stay safe.
Thanks.
Yep, bye.
Okay.
Amen. How are you, dear?